All right, this is part 2 of the Apex mod for the camera cage to fit the DJI 04 Air unit. Now, excuse me, I've got a cold, so yeah, I'm dealing with that. But anyway, this is the ITS FPV ERA 04 camera cage. I did the last mod using the ITS FPV 03 camera cage, and I did that on a standard Apex frame, not an Evo, but just a standard older version, and it just about bolts up perfectly. The only big mod on it is you had to cut the top of the plate to match this setup. You know, the bolt hole pattern is the same, it's just the curvature had to be cut for that. Anyway, same scenario for this one. I took the original ERA top plate, sandwiched the two together, put bolts through them, and I actually were able then to take a Sharpie and mark where I needed to cut. But what you want to do when you take that Sharpie and mark it, when you're cutting the top plate, you want to leave the Sharpie thickness so you actually have a little bit extra, because when you do install this top plate, for the changes you have to make down here, which is very small changes that you actually just use with a file. I use this little round file here. I wore gloves and a safety mask, you know, just something to keep you from inhaling this stuff. And then that's when I was done. I washed the bottom plate. I never got wet this cage. I would not recommend wetting this cage. But anyway, once you do that, your bolt patterns are just off like a half a hole or even less than that, something like that. But by leaving your line that you make with a Sharpie, you will leave enough excess that when you come up here to this top plate and you file the hole forward in an oval, instead of being a circle when you're done, it'll be an oval. That'll give you that extra little distance, and then all your back bolts for the next two sets of standoffs will line up perfectly. That's it. Out of this entire mod, I think the most aggravating part is the normal, if you take the bottom plate off here, I took it off to do the repairs, to file here, file here, file here, here, to get those to line up to the cage, because I don't want any stress on the bolts to the cage because of the zerks that's in the bottom of the cage. You don't want any stress to that. But when you do this, I took this plate off, so naturally I had to take all of these bolts out of the arms. And that's probably the most aggravating part, is just putting that back together. But what I do is, before I take these 4 bolts in the center out, just to help you guys that want to do this, what I do then is I'll take those 4 bolts out, and this is the back side where those press-in nuts are. Then I'll take a longer bolt, like let me show you this right here, just a longer 2mm, and I'll run it from the top down through those press-in nuts there, and not tightening them up. I just run them down far enough that when it protrudes out the other side, it'll stick out probably a 1/4 inch or so, about like that much. And that's actually a stud guide. So when you have this plate off, these arms will be flopping around like you messing with a bowl of spaghetti, and it's aggravating as heck, because there's a cam plate in the center that keeps all these arms in the correct angle when you go to reassemble, and of course that's aggravating to do. But if you have those studs protruding, they'll be sticking out here with all these bolts gone. I'll just put them in one at a time, pop, take these 4 out afterwards, pull the plate up, all the arms will stay in place. Then I warp my bottom plate, come back, put the plate back on, slid it right over the 4 studs, tighten, snug these 4 down, flip it over, take a stud out here, and then put this bolt back in. Take a stud out here, put this bolt back in. It just, I'm telling you, if you're ever replacing the bottom plate, it will help you tremendously. But that's probably the most aggravating part of the entire hack, but that's the normal thing you deal with Evo, Apex EVO frame anyway. But anyway, and one other mod I had to change, if you notice, on the bottom of this, there's a little lip that would normally protrude down to protect the bottom of your plate here. It's on, this is the original Apex here. I'm going to show you. You can see it. You can still see it on this one, but you don't see it on this one. I trimmed that off. And the reason you have to do that is because the curvature, let me flip it up here, this curvature does not match like the original Apex matches perfectly. So you don't have that issue. But with the Evo, this doesn't match the curvature of the inside of that little bumper that you have here. And literally, I just took a pair of these what you call a dikes. Let's see, what did I do with them? Anyways, just little cutters we all use when we're doing repairs, and just trim it off. It's nothing. It literally took 10 seconds. It wasn't anything. But anyway, you do that, and then naturally down here you want to make sure these bolts line up, these 4 bolts for the zerts, and to get them to line up, you take just a little file like this, and you just file the holes until, and it's, if I'm not mistaken, I'm trying to remember, it seems like these 2 fronts get closer together, and the 2 backs here and here go forward, and it's literally like a half hole of each hole, and that's it. You don't see a bunch of excess. You don't see a bunch of excess in my frame. You know, it looks fine. But anyway, that's it. I don't know. It probably took me. I did a lot more, as you see. I went ahead and 3D printed these camera plates, and went ahead and installed this, my little adapters for the 2.4 setup for ELRS for diversity. I just went ahead and did all that, and so by doing that, I had to relocate my ERLS receiver. But if I didn't have to do all that, I mean, literally it probably took me less than an hour to do everything. Because originally these were mounted at the back, and I didn't like the reception. I've been flying this setup since I started flying the ELRS frame, and I've been blown away at how well the signal, even through the trees and behind my house, is working. It's been the best I found yet on 2.4. But anyway, another thing, the camera plates, they're slotted, both top and bottom, so you can recess this camera, you can tilt this camera. There's a lot of options here. If you notice, see, I've still got some of the extra front of the cage there to protect the camera, and I can still go further back if I want, and I could tilt it even more if I want. You can see right there how it's slotted. But anyway, listen, I'm not monetized. This channel's not monetized. This channel does not get shared with the public like you would a monetized channel. So keep in mind, if you want this video to get out to other people who are using the Apex frame, whether it's the standard, Evo, it doesn't matter, YouTube will not push this video like they push monetized channels. So it's up to us as the community to share this video so other people can get educated on what their options are versus buying an $18. This one's $18, and I think this other one here is like $8, I think. So you could either spend that money, do the modifications on what you already have, and then you don't have to worry about your camera as much as you would using a 3D printed version, which they're nice. The people who did that, you know, I'm grateful, but at the same time, I want something that I can bash and it should hold up, you know, like it's designed to do. And not to mention, I don't have to spend $100 more on another frame when I can do this and you can do this. And I mean, sheesh, it's crazy, you know, having to spend all that money just to get an updated version frame to fit 04 when you can work with 2 companies that's already exist and the parts are already out there, and do a little bit of modification yourself and have something. This thing flies every bit as good as it's ever flown, you know, if not better. Honestly, it's amazing. But anyway, if you like this, please hit the thumbs up. That again, I'm not monetized, but what that does is let me know you appreciate the video and you appreciate me taking the time doing this and putting it out here for you guys. And share it with your friends, your community, because again, they get opportunity to do this themselves and save themselves some money. Thanks for your time. Red Baron FPV. Have a good week. Have a good weekend. Have a good day.